It was supposed to be just another routine visit to a military base. Rows of soldiers standing tall, awaiting a handshake or a photo with the President of the United States. The air buzzed with discipline and formality as President Trump walked down the line, greeting each service member. But then something different happened. Private First Class Aaron Miles, a young soldier with steady eyes and a quiet demeanor, took a small step forward. A senior officer leaned toward the president and said, "Sir, this one has a special request." Trump looked at Aaron curiously. "Go ahead, son." Aaron swallowed hard. "Mr. President, my mom raised me by herself. She worked double shifts, so I could enlist. I was wondering, could I take a photo with you, for her?" The room fell quiet. The atmosphere shifted. The president paused, then smiled warmly. "That's one of the best reasons I've heard all day." He gestured to the official photographer. "Let's make sure we get this one right." After the photo, Trump placed a hand on Aaron's shoulder. "What's your mother's name?" "Rachel, sir." Turning to one of his aides, the president gave a directive. "Send a copy of this photo to Rachel Miles in Kentucky. Frame it, and I'll be writing her a personal note." Aaron stood still, stunned. The very next day, the photo began making its rounds on social media. A major news outlet picked it up. The headline read, "Soldier's simple request for his mom moves President Trump." The story caught fire. People were moved not just by the image, but by the quiet love and respect it represented. Back in Kentucky, Rachel Miles opened her mailbox to find a large envelope with gold trim and the presidential seal. Inside, neatly packed, was the framed photograph of her son with the president and a handwritten note that read, "Dear Rachel, your son serves his country with pride and honor. It's clear he was raised by someone just as remarkable. Thank you for the sacrifices you made. America is grateful. Donald J. Trump." Rachel sat on her front porch holding the frame, tears welling in her eyes. In that image, she saw more than her son. She saw every sleepless night, every long shift, every moment of worry and pride. Soon, neighbors stopped by, bringing meals and congratulations. Local reporters reached out for interviews. Veterans wrote letters. Other single mothers reached out, saying her story gave them hope. Her small-town diner, once quiet and unassuming, was suddenly filled with strangers who just wanted to meet. The woman behind the photo. But Rachel didn't change. She kept working her morning shifts, pouring coffee, wiping down tables. "I'm not a celebrity," she'd say with a soft smile. "I'm just a mom who loves her boy." Aaron, meanwhile, was unaware of the ripple effect his simple request had caused until he was summoned to his commanding officer's office. Expecting routine business, he instead found a group of journalists and a representative from the Department of Defense waiting for him. "Private Miles," one said, "you've become a bit of a symbol." Aaron blinked. "I just asked for a photo." That moment led to something even more unexpected, a formal invitation to the White House. Both Aaron and Rachel were asked to attend a private ceremony. Rachel had never flown before. Nervously boarding the plane, she clutched her purse. Inside it, a worn baby photo of Aaron she always carried. When they arrived in Washington, D.C., she was overwhelmed by the grandeur. And yet, standing beside her son, she felt entirely at home. They were greeted at the White House by President Trump himself. "Rachel Miles," he said with a wide grin, "the mother who moved a nation. In a quiet ceremony, the president gave a heartfelt speech, not political, but deeply personal. He spoke about the people behind every uniform, about the unsung strength of parents who raise those who serve. And then he made a surprise announcement. The photo of Aaron and Rachel would hang in the White House's Hall of Honor. As a curtain pulled back, the framed image was revealed. Beneath it, a plaque read, "Private Aaron Miles and Rachel Miles. A son's salute, a mother's strength." Rachel's hands trembled as she looked up at it. "This doesn't feel real," she whispered to Aaron. "It's real," he replied. "And it's because of you." Back home, the changes kept coming. Her favorite booth at the diner now bore a small plaque reserved for Rachel Miles, proud military mom. Customers brought flowers. Children asked for autographs. A local artist painted a mural inspired by the photo. Still, Rachel insisted on normalcy. "I just want to keep serving pancakes and coffee," she'd say. But her story continued to inspire. A few weeks later, she received another letter. This time, it carried a new initiative. "Dear Rachel, you reminded the country of the strength behind every soldier. I'm launching Operation Hometown Heroes, a national program to support single parents of active duty service members. You were the spark. With deep respect, Donald J. Trump." Rachel stared at the letter, overwhelmed. A national initiative. Because of her, she was asked to serve as the honorary ambassador of the program. At the town hall meeting, she stood nervously at the podium. The room was packed. "I didn't set out to change anything," she said. "I just did what any mother would do. I raised my son the best I could. Turns out, that was enough." The crowd erupted in applause. Newspapers ran headlines like "The Mom Who Moved a Nation" and "Love Wears an Apron." From Tennessee to Texas, stories poured in. A mechanic began offering free car repairs to military moms. A school launched a letter-writing campaign to parents of soldiers. A country singer even released a song inspired by the story, titled "Photo with the President." Through it all, Aaron remained humble. He was promoted to specialist and asked to speak at a Veterans Day ceremony. Standing before hundreds, he said, "I didn't ask for fame. I just wanted to honor my mom. If that helped people see the sacrifices behind the uniform, then I've done my job." Afterward, a young cadet approached him and said, "My mom's just like yours. You gave her hope." Aaron smiled. "Then I've already won." Years went by. The photo was printed in history books, shown in documentaries, and displayed in classrooms. Rachel's diner became a stop for tourists and soldiers alike. She kept every letter in a shoebox. She never sought the spotlight. She was just living her truth. Then, one spring morning, there was a knock at the back door of the diner. Wiping her hands on her apron, Rachel opened it and froze. Standing there, older now but unmistakable, was Donald Trump. No longer president, but still carrying a presence that filled the doorway. "Mind if I come in for some of that famous coffee?" he asked. Rachel, still stunned, laughed. "You came here?" "I owed you a visit," he replied. "And I wanted to see where it all began." They sat in her booth, surrounded by thank you cards, flags, and patches from soldiers. Rachel poured the coffee, still shaking a little. "Why now?" she asked. "Because stories like yours keep this country grounded," he said. "And I wanted to ask permission. I'm writing a book, and I'd like a chapter to be about you and Aaron." Rachel blinked. "I'm just a mom from Kentucky." "No," Trump said firmly. You're a symbol of what it means to serve. Without a uniform, they clinked their mugs together. And in that quiet moment, Rachel realized, sometimes the quietest lives leave the loudest echoes. Months later, Aaron came home on leave. The town threw a parade. Flags waved, kids held signs, and sirens wailed in celebration. But Aaron wasn't interested in the attention. He walked straight to the diner where his mom stood waiting. "I missed your cooking," he said. "I missed everything," she replied. They sat together in the booth. Aaron noticed the small box Rachel had kept from the beginning. Inside were letters, the note from Trump, and at the very top, the photo that started it all. He picked it up and smiled. "Funny how one moment can change everything," Rachel nodded. "But the best parts came after." Aaron took her hand. "No, Mom, the best part was always you." A major documentary titled More Than a Moment soon premiered, telling their story. It ended with Rachel's voice saying, "We don't raise heroes, we raise children. And sometimes life turns them into heroes. All we can do is love them enough to be worth the sacrifice." Her words resonated across generations. In a school in Ohio, a boy watched the film and wrote an essay titled "The Moment That Changed America." He won a national contest and visited the Hall of Honor. Standing beneath the photo, he turned to his father, a truck driver, and said, "She reminds me of Mom, always working, always believing." And so the story continued, not as a viral moment, but as a lasting legacy. Rachel grew older, her hair graying, her steps slower, but the spark remained. Aaron became a father, and one day brought his daughter to the Hall of Honor. "See that photo?" he said. "That's me, and that's your grandma." "She's famous!" the girl exclaimed. Aaron smiled. "She's